GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
What up? It's the Chris Caden. That's right. I am Chris Caden, and you are listening to the All Bets Are Off podcast. Bam!
What's up, Rock Soldiers? This is the Rockstar Robbie Vegas bringing you another episode of the All Bets Are Off podcast. And before I even get going today, I do want to take a second to say rest in peace to Joey Jordison, one of the greatest drummers of all time, definitely changed the game in rock and roll and metal. And aside from Slipknot, the Murder Dolls with Wednesday 13 is one of my favorite bands of all time. And I know he's very, very missed. And I just wanted to take a second to throw his name out there. And, it's been tough seeing people that I know go through this, and I just wanted to say that my prayers are with you guys, and rest in peace to Joey, and God bless his family, friends, and fans. So, today's episode, we are bringing you back to professional wrestling, because Upstate Pro Wrestling in Rochester, New York is back, and we have Mattick here today to tell us all about it, and to tell us about his career up to now. So I'm pretty excited about this. September 11th is the date of the show. Every match is going to be in a cage. It's going to be huge, so check it out on IWTV. If you aren't in the area, that's Independent Wrestling TV. You can subscribe to it and watch independent wrestling from all over the world, and UPW is on there as well. And I'm looking forward to them being back officially. This is great news, and it's such a great time to be a wrestler and a wrestling fan right now. So, forget about the heat and who watches what and who's better than who, because let's be honest, it's just great to have so many different programs and different feds and different big companies going on, and it's a lot of fun. So bringing you that episode right now as soon as I tell you about our sponsor. And today's episode is brought to you by DB. DB is a Scandinavian brand that makes backpacks and bags to help people on the move stay ready for anything. From the streets to the peaks, DB's gear is travel tested by some of the world's best athletes. Adventures and creators over the past decade, DB has designed and developed, released and refined the best bags in the market. With DB's patented hookup system, you're able to attach smaller products to your backpack, roller, or tote. Now, for anybody who is in the pro wrestling business, music business, my horror actors out there who come on the show, this is an important feature, okay? You have to have the right luggage when you're on the go. This bag is important, so just check it out, because we are teaming up with DB to exclusively offer our listeners 10% off your next purchase by using the code POD10. Or going to the link in our show notes. DB, it's time to move on. Time to get going. So before we get Mattick on the line here, I just want to play a little bit of Murder Dolls in honor of Joey Jordison.
Hey guys, I'm Ashers.
And I'm Pat O.
And every Wednesday we talk weird.
It's a weekly podcast bringing you the latest in
cryptozoology,
ufology,
conspiracies,
the occult,
and all the latest in Fortean news. Everything from the ooky to the spooky.
It's like Coast to Coast AM for people who fuck.
Search for On Wednesdays We Talk Weird anywhere you get podcasts. See you guys next Wednesday.
So Mattick, before we even get started, just want to say thank you for being here on the All Bets Are Off podcast for your very first time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So I wanted to have you on specifically because UPW is coming back in September, and you are one of the staples of UPW, and I wanted to talk about the return, but also talk about your career up until now.
Yeah, let's do it.
How long ago did you actually get started as far as training goes?
So I started training in 2013. I believe it was actually on St. Patty's Day,
Now, were you always a part of UPW as far as even your training came from? At the time, was it the Kayfabe Dojo?
So no, actually. I actually started out at Pier 6 Wrestling. Yep, I was there for about 3 months, and I was under, my same trainer. I've been with the same trainers, Colin Delaney and Mark House. And within 3 months of being at the Pier 6 school, we all moved out to the Kayfabe Dojo in Rochester.
And how old were you when that was all happening?
2013, I was just shy of 23, so 22.
Okay. So what actually got you into pro wrestling, even prior to training, all that? Where was your inspiration at before you even stepped in the ring?
Yeah, so, I've always loved wrestling since I was a kid. My earliest memories of wrestling is going over to my friend's house. I used to live in New Mexico in Albuquerque, and my friends would always be watching wrestling, and that's kind of where I got hooked on it. My earliest memories is just, watching the Attitude Era, and I was always drawn to The Rock. And, it's something I always wanted to do, just didn't know how to, going about it. And I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and I just happened to see that Pier 6 was having open tryouts, so I just pulled the trigger.
So you said you were heavily inspired by The Rock?
Yeah, that was my guy when I was younger.
I could see that because you like to talk shit. So how long after training did you actually have your first match in front of a crowd?
So my first experience in front of a crowd was a month later. It was just a battle royal for Pier 6. I think I was in and out of the ring within 2 minutes. But my first match was in May of that year. I went to, everybody's favorite wrestling company in the area, Ultimate Wrestling, and with Mark House, and they had a spot in the show. So I ended up getting a singles match against ESW promoter Brett Mattick, and we had a one-on-one match. So that was my first official match in the business.
I think the first time I had a match against you was in UW, if I have that right. I can't remember for sure, but I think it might have been.
Yeah, it probably was. I was trying to think before he called me if we've ever wrestled, and I was like, yeah, I think we did a couple tag matches with me and Hellcat and you and Mad Dog. But other than that, I can't remember ever, staring across from you.
No, I don't think so. I think we just did that maybe 2 or 3 tag matches, but never a singles match. And I was on a team with you right before the pandemic, but we never had a singles match or anything.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that was right before.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, speaking of you and Hellcat, so you did the Wrestle Dad, Wrestle Son gimmick, and did that happen organically, or was that a plan? Because that just worked so well.
Yes. So the story is funny. Ron Falco actually inspired that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was talking shit to Hellcat about bringing his son on the road again because I always just travel with Hellcat if he was going places, and it kind of transpired from there. Him and Rob Sweet were kind of dwindling down as a tag team, and I kind of stepped in, and it organically went from there. So we always played around, Wrestle Son, Wrestle Dad, and it just kind of became our thing.
Now I remember you guys doing the 2 Seans. And me and Mad Dog would come out and say 2 Martys.
Yes. So the idea behind that, and it was nothing against our former tag partners. It was just, we're having fun. There's always a Shawn Michaels and a Marty Jannetty in every team. And, Rob Sweet and Hellcat. Hellcat was the Shawn in that team, and then Mattick and Milliman, I was the Shawn in that team, so that's where the hashtag 2 Shawn. So that's nothing against Milliman and Rob Sweet. They're fantastic people. I love them both.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Over the years, now, before you were even teaming with Hellcat doing that, were you, I know you had Milliman, was that a predominantly tag team career for you at the beginning then, or were you a singles to begin with?
So I had a couple singles matches to begin with when I first started, but me and Milliman started training the exact same day. So usually when that happens, you guys kind of get paired together. So we obviously got paired together, and on our first main Pier 6 show, we were thrown together as a tag team. And then when we moved to Upstate, our first match at Upstate was against each other. But they knew that we, tagged before, so they kind of threw us as a tag team, and that's just kind of how it went.
Okay, so then from there, did you actually go straight to the tag team with Hellcat, or were you a singles for a while then?
Yeah, so after Millman and I split up in UPW, I was kind of doing the singles thing, and then I can't remember exactly like how the whole me and Hellcat tagging came along. I think I would just travel with him. So our first official tag match together, actually funny, it was in Ring of Honor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first time we ever officially tagged was in Ring of Honor.
No shit.
Yeah. So after that, I think we just decided, hey, run with it.
Okay. So who are some of your favorite tag teams to go up against, as no matter who your partner was?
So I will never say Defiance because I've wrestled them so many times. I'm kind of sick of it. And I always like to bust balls against those two. Like, I love them as people. I have my feelings about them as professional wrestlers, but that's a story for another time. I always liked, I don't know, when me and Millman were tagging, I don't remember, like, any feuds that stuck out. I remember wrestling in Pennsylvania, and we would always wrestle Sweet Sensation, Sweet Bobby G, and Clay Dasher. Like, we'd always wrestle them in Pennsylvania, so that stuck out. I had a short run with a guy named TKD, Taylor K. Dean, in Canada. Me and him were tag champs at Steel City up there. We had an awesome run. It was our first match together. We wrestled the Gym Rats, Alessandro Del Bruno and Scotty Hacker.
Okay.
Our second match together, we actually won the Steel City tag belts against Monster Mafia, Josh Alexander and Ethan Page. And then our last match together in our final title defense was against the Dark Order, or then known as Super Smash Bros. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson.
Jesus.
And then, we're still technically tag champs up in Canada because the promotion just stopped running. But as far as like with Hellcat, I don't know, I mean, we're known for wrestling Defiance, and I always enjoyed wrestling High Seas, Nagando and Cloudy.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are a ton of fun to go up against.
Yeah.
You just dropped some heavy-hitting names there in like a 3-minute span.
Yeah, man. Let me pick them up real quick. I dropped a couple.
Well, I gotta say, I didn't know that you were tag champs in Canada with TKD. Didn't he start Courage Pro?
Yeah, he was one of the guys that started that.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I worked for him a few times, and at first I thought you were going to tell me you were tag champs there, and I was like, I was there.
Yeah, no, he had me booked on his first show, but there was some things that may have happened in Canada where I'm not allowed to go there anymore. So the first show that he had me booked on, it was myself, Hellcat, and Colin, and we were riding up there, and they stopped us at the border. They pulled us in, blah, blah, blah. And because of what happened previously when I was up there, they actually arrested me.
Oh, wow.
And, I was, they detained me for like 3 hours. And I had to, I remember talking to, the U.S. Embassy and lawyers and stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then, finally, 3 hours later, Toronto police just didn't feel like coming to the border and, picking me up. So they let me go back home.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was on that show.
Yeah. Yeah, fun stuff.
Wow. Now, when you went singles and you were doing your thing there, who are some of your favorite opponents from your singles matches? Because I can recall you working a lot of names as singles, too.
Yeah. So hands down, my favorite singles competitor is Cameron Gotcha Black, formerly known as Gabriel Saint. That was my first singles feud in Upstate Pro Wrestling, and I feel like we had such a great chemistry. We wrestled 5 matches against each other, and I loved it. She taught me a lot. I mean, I've wrestled quite a bit in it. I guess I'm fortunate enough to wrestle as many people as I have. I've wrestled Rich Swann and JT Dunn in 2CW. I've been fortunate enough to wrestle Eddie Kingston, Homicide. I've wrestled Abyss, Kurt Hawkins, Bobby Fish. Yeah, I don't remember all of them, but yeah, I've wrestled quite a bit.
And now, if I remember this right, you wrestled Bobby Fish for the UPW heavyweight title, right?
Yeah, so I actually defended it against him, and he dethroned me as the heavyweight champion.
I mean, I can think of a lot worse people to dethrone you.
Right.
But, I will say, you said you were fortunate enough to wrestle all these names, but because of all the experience and working with all these names, you're one of the trainers at the Flower City Wrestling Academy. Do you attribute that to being able to work with so many great people?
Honestly, I attribute a lot to Colin, my trainer. Colin Delaney is, he's such a smart mind for the business. He's so fantastic. Like, just being under his learning tree has taught me so much, and I really try to base off everything that I do at the Flower City Wrestling Academy with everything that he taught me, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing, too, because, I mean, Colin, he's a name himself, and
Right.
you're trained under him to begin with, so you got a really good start.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I couldn't be any more fortunate.
Now, was it always a goal of yours to become a trainer in the long run, or did this just kind of happen?
Yeah, man. So no, I never, ever wanted to be a trainer. I don't feel like I'm good at teaching, or then I didn't feel like I was good at teaching people. Like, it was just not me. We went through a couple trainers at the school, and the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, well, somebody's got to do it, you know? And I was like, I guess it'll be me, because I mean, I'm pretty hands-on with a lot of stuff that happens at Upstate anyway. So, you know, I kind of got in a groove, and now I absolutely love it. I honestly do, and I love the kids that, you know, have come through our doors.
Well,
like, we have so many talented kids.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, there's such like a special group, and you can tell that they're grateful for their training. They respect you. They respect their other trainers, and they're just incredible almost right out of the gate. And it just really, it speaks volumes to the professionalism of Upstate Professional Wrestling, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, from that, you know, training sessions that you're running and things like that at Flower City, are you getting in there and being very hands-on with that, and is that keeping you sharp in the ring yourself?
Oh, yeah, it has to, man. Like, I have to preach, you know, what I'm preaching, I have to, you know, practice it myself, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely sharpened my skills. Like, I'm telling these kids, like, this is, you know, the way you should do it. This is, you know, the way it's done. And then, like, I'm looking at my own stuff. I'm like, man, I'm telling these kids to do that. I better be doing it myself, right?
Yeah. Now, do you find yourself, either with the class or without, do you still study tape and keep up on everything that's going on out there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I watch as much wrestling as I possibly can. Yeah, I still watch, you know, WWE product. I watch the Hulu versions every week. I stay on top of NXT. I try to catch AEW as much as possible. I have, like, the New Japan app on my TV. I have the IWTV stuff. The only thing I don't really keep up with as much as I would like to is the Ring of Honor stuff, you know? Yeah, but I mean, I try to watch it all.
And that's kind of cool, too, because you're a guy who's willing to travel and be out there and have bookings constantly. So to continuously keep up on what's going on around you in the wrestling world is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you see, if I asked you this now, could you tell me where you would like to see your own career end up?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious answer is, you know, sign to a contract to a major promotion, whether it be the WWE or AEW or Impact or, you know, New Japan, Ring of Honor, one of the top companies. Like, that'd be fantastic. But, I mean, lately I've been pretty content with, you know, pushing my guys at the school. Like, I want to see them succeed. And not only my guys, I want to see the area succeed as a whole. Like, I love the guys out at Grapplers. You know, I love Daniel Garcia and Kevin Blackwood. Like, I love what they're doing. I want everybody as a whole to succeed. So that's what makes me happy, to be honest.
Well, see, that's a big thing, too, because right now there's a boom happening in wrestling, as we know. And it's a great thing for fans and wrestlers, but it's also creating a lot of animosity of like, well, your product sucks and our product's better, or don't watch WWE, watch AEW. And to hear somebody who's been in it since 2013 say like, hey, this is a good thing, let's all like give each other a rub. Like,
yeah,
that's huge. Like, do you find yourself seeing these like, you know, I don't know what to call them, keyboard warriors or whatever, launching shit out there about how shitty this is, or don't watch that, and like, as a wrestler, that's got to make you mad sometimes.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I see the dirt sheets, and I don't read too much into it. You know, I don't really have an opinion either way. I just when I watch wrestling, I try to watch it as a fan, you know, and just enjoy the ride. Like, you know, wrestling is so subjective, and you're not in the creative writer's seat per se, or like the promoter's seat per se. Like, you don't know where that storyline or, you know, what direction they're taking it in. So I just like to enjoy the ride and see where it goes, you know?
Yeah. You're somebody who helps out behind the scenes on the indie scene. So you know a bit about what goes into booking and promoting too. So you also have that kind of psychology going on also. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, kind of being under Hellcat's wing, you know, he's been running UPW since 2002, you know, and for the past, I don't know, maybe 4 years, I've kind of helped them with, certain things, backstage and kind of learning that kind of stuff. I enjoy it. I enjoy like the creative thinking that goes into certain things.
And now, was that another one of those situations that just kind of fell into your lap, or was that like, all right, after I'm done learning the in-ring stuff, I want to learn the backstage stuff too?
So it's another thing that kind of fell in my lap, just kind of hanging out with Hellcat and being friends with Hellcat. But like, I've always like had that kind of creative mind. Like, I know when I backyard wrestled, I was always in control, like creating the matches and stuff, and I really enjoyed that. So, I mean, it kind of works out for me.
Yeah, right. Well, we mentioned earlier that UPW is coming back in September.
Yep.
But throughout the pandemic, well, not throughout, but eventually you were able to get the school up and running and do things at the school too. So before you could be back out on the road and getting your crazy schedule back to where it was, were you having like, all right, I'm going to have a match against this trainee tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to do this, like just to keep yourself sane and keep yourself crisp?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, usually part of training, we have like practice matches, and every once in a while I like to throw myself in there with the guys and see where they're at and kind of push myself too and keep myself in somewhat, kind of shape. And also, we've been doing like these studio tapings at the school once a month, and that's kind of helped fill the void,
Aside from the school, plug the UPW show that's coming up in September for our listeners who don't know about it yet, and I'm going to share the flyer with it, with this episode.
Yeah, so UPW is returning September 11th in Rochester, New York at the Fast Break Sports Center for business as usual. Every single match is contested inside a steel cage.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, UPW does it big all the time, but when I saw that, I was even like, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny too because ever since I started with UPW, every cage match that has happened since I've been here, I've somehow been a part of.
Come on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of your thing, though. You're the king of the cage.
I guess.
Well, can we also talk about the King of Puke style?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
I saw the video. I wasn't there for that. But, or at least if I was, I don't think I was out there. I think I might have been in the locker room. But I remember seeing the video and going, wow, that just flew. It looked like you had no idea it was coming and it just shot out of you. And you capitalized on that shit and had some cool-ass t-shirts.
Yeah. So it's funny, and it's actually the second time I've puked wrestling.
Oh.
And the funnier thing is that both of it happened with Cameron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first time I puked in a ring, it was like the final match in our series. It was an Iron Man match, and I don't know, maybe 15 minutes in, I threw up. I was dry heaving, and I just threw up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was kind of a joke for a while, and then I don't know if you've seen the Shakara video of Kuma kicking Cloudy's chest in, and Cloudy puking everywhere. So before me, Cloudy was the king of puke style. But to this one, so it was like a 6-man tag cage match, and I was fine all day up until maybe intermission, and I started feeling really sick for some reason. And I remember walking to Gorilla and seeing Cheech, and I told him I think I'm gonna throw up, and we get in there and we start doing stuff, and then I was in the corner and Maximo gave me one shot and I could not hold it in, and just projectile everywhere.
Oh, man.
And the funny thing is, I was sitting on a trash can. I could have just turned around and puked in the trash can.
But?
Yeah, so proud moment for me. It ended up on Botchamania, and I made T-shirts.
And that's what I was going to say. If it went in the trash can, maybe there would be no T-shirts.
Right.
All right, so just to curve away from wrestling for a quick second, another thing that you love is Batman.
Yes.
And you have the tattoo on your chest.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
Did that start for you around the same time as wrestling started for you? Was that your other love?
Younger. I just remember Saturday morning cartoons and watching Batman, the animated series. And I think when I was 5 years old, I was Batman for Halloween. And I just remember Batman always having Batman figures and, the bed set and all that stuff. So ever since I was a kid, I've loved Batman.
Now, What's your favorite Batman movie to date?
So everybody asks me that, and I can't answer. I'm like one of those. It's like wrestling, man. I don't have a favorite. I like watching them all. I'm just such a fan of Batman itself. It doesn't matter who the character playing Batman is. I enjoy the stories. Yeah, that's
fair. I mean, do you collect memorabilia and stuff like that too?
Yeah. So I have a couple like wall hangings of Batman and like odds and ends, but I started collecting Funko Pops, and they're all Batman, and I cannot stop. Like I have 3 bookshelves and like on my wall, like full of Funko Pops. I'm constantly like on the marketplace and eBay, like trying to look for them, and it's become a bad habit.
You know, it's funny too because I started collecting like the horror movie Funko Pops. Yeah. And now that's it. It's game over. Anytime I go to a store, I'm like, let me just see if they got Funkos real quick.
Right.
Like, I'm on the Funko website. Yeah, it's the most addicting thing. I don't get it. But I used to say when I saw people buying those, I'd be like, they're so fucking stupid. Like, how the hell do you waste your money on that? Like,
I agree. And it's funny enough, I blame Colin for it.
Oh,
because he was running, he used to work at Pop Rock and stuff, and he would be selling Funkos, and I just kind of caved and started buying them. And yeah, so it's Colin's fault.
Of course. And every injury you get in wrestling is also Colin's fault because he's your trainer. So
right.
Now that the pandemic's coming to an end, hopefully, knock on wood, and UPW's coming back, do you have a bucket list of people that you'd like to still have matches with that maybe you haven't yet?
Yeah, I definitely do. I have a local list. And top of that list is Sean Carr. I have not wrestled Sean Carr
ever.
Nope, ever. Well, I've done some like tag and multi-man matches, but never one-on-one.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I was supposed to wrestle him last 2 months ago at Excite, and the show got canceled, unfortunately. So I was pretty bummed out about that. Yeah, so Sean Carr is definitely number one. I've never wrestled Cheech one-on-one, so
really?
I'd like to wrestle Cheech. Yeah, Coconut's on that list. Kevin Bennett, I've never wrestled one-on-one.
Jeez.
So yeah, there's a couple different local guys that I would really like to share the ring with.
That kind of surprises me with you starting to train in 2013 because a lot of those guys have been around since then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's like for me and Carr, it's like an inside joke now, where it's like anytime I see somebody challenge him online on social media, I'm like, God damn it.
So you're telling me that Caden and Maximo are not on that list?
No, God no. Oh my goodness. I do not want to ever wrestle either one of them ever again if I can avoid it. Like I've wrestled Maximo Suave more times than anybody else I've ever wrestled. It's crazy. I want to say I've wrestled him like, at least 30 times.
That's me and Caden. And including Defiance, when I was still doing the Nightbreed, I'm going to tell you, I was working them at UPW, UW, I can't remember, I want to say, there was one other Fed, I can't remember, somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think. And I drive all the way to Vermont thinking that I'm wrestling these guys from Memphis, and they say, hey, those guys can't make it, but we got this team called Defiance. They're going to be here soon. I was like, I drove 8 hours away and still wrestled. Yeah.
So disappointing. I'm sorry, man.
So listen, what else do you have coming up right now besides the return of UPW? Any shows, anything you got going on, even side projects that you want to talk about? Just like throw it all out there right now.
Yeah, so, aside from UPW, my main focus has been the school. I love the kids that are at our school, Keenan Moore, The Process, Matt Lawson, TJ Epics. Like, I just want to give those guys shout-outs because they're working so hard and they're getting out there. And it just makes me so happy to see them succeed. And right now, like, that's, like, number one priority for me. I just want our guys to get out there and get known and succeed.
Well, that's huge, man, because you've, like I said earlier, you've been on the road a lot, and you've traveled a lot yourself, and you've worked a lot of different people, so to get those guys out there doing the same thing, essentially to follow in your footsteps and see how far they're going to take it is a big deal.
Yeah, I want them to be, I don't see myself as this great wrestler or anything, I'm pretty humble when it comes to that, but I want these guys to be like top stars, like I really do.
Yeah, and that's a big pat on the back to the Flower City Wrestling Academy too, so it's like a win-win for everybody, and like I said, these kids are so talented, it's insane. Like, I don't remember seeing people that talented when I started training. I really don't.
Oh yeah, I know, man. Like, it's like just this influx of talented guys that we just somehow got out of nowhere.
I mean, just the process. The first time I saw them, they probably did something real simple for a few minutes, and they came back, and I was like, "Who the fuck are you guys?"
Right.
Speaking of the process, I had them on, and we talked Batman with you, we talked horror movies with them, and since, the podcast revolves around wrestling, horror, and music, are you into horror movies also?
So I actually knew this question was going to come up, and I really did. And so I don't mind scary movies, but they're not my favorite. I'm that guy that, will hide under the blanket when I know a scary scene's about to come, because I hate the idea of getting scared.
Okay.
I really do. It's funny, I had a close group of friends when I was younger, and, every Halloween we'd go see, the new scary movie that was out in theaters, and I would get such anxiety about going and, getting scared at the movie theater. And the funny thing is, usually I was the one that was fine, and the rest of them were the ones that got scared.
Yeah, because you got yourself so worked up that you were prepared for anything.
Right, exactly.
Now, what about music? Is there a certain music that you like to train to or work out to or that pumps you up?
No, so I listen to anything. Anything that sounds good to me, I'm a fan of. I don't care what genre it is, I'll listen to it. It's funny, if you ride in the car with me, weird things will pop up on my iPod, and it's once it's on my iTunes list, it doesn't come off.
I'd like to know what some of those are that people have turned to you and been like, what the fuck?
Right. Well, so I used to do highlight videos for my family, so I have some Faith Hill on there for random reasons, and anytime it comes on, it's funny. I used to do promos into my phone, so I have really old promos that come up on sometimes.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, before I let you go, first I just want to thank you for doing this because it was fun and we haven't had you on before, so there's a couple things I want to say before we let you go.
Okay.
So first, would you be willing to come back on the show in the future and do a live podcast with maybe some of the guys once we're all back in the locker room together?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As long as it's not Chris K to Maximo, I'm all for it.
All right, noted. Writing that down. But also, could you just plug your social media, whatever you're on, UPW social media, Flower City social media, and just for anybody that doesn't follow it, get them on there.
Yeah, so all my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's Mattick585, Mattick 585. For UPW stuff, it's all UPW Rock, UPW ROC, and then for the Flower City stuff, it's 585 Wrestling.
All right, man. Well, perfect. Thank you again for being here. Really appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, buddy. I really appreciate you having me on. It was fun.
Of course. Now let's have that one-on-one sometime.
Please.
Hey, last time I worked with you in a tag match, though, you did almost kick my skull off.
Oh, I apologize. I really get into it, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Down and clear the stone of leaves. I wander right where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. I felt the air rise up in me. Live down and clear the stone of leaves. I wander right where you can't see. Inside my shell I wait and bleed. Goodbye, a woman of my time. The night is but of this time. Everything is turning fast for me.
All right, rockers, so once again, that was Mattick, UPW mainstay, one of the top guys over there. So if you get a chance, check him out on IWTV even. There's a lot of indie promotions on Independent Wrestling TV. Subscribe to it. UPW puts all their shows on there. They're constantly adding old ones, and you'll see a lot of people like Colin Delaney, Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, and tons more. You never know who's going to pop up, like Mattick was saying. People like Abyss. So check that all out. And, again, at the end of that interview, you did hear Slipknot. So rest in peace to Joey Jordison. And thank you guys for listening to the All Bets Are Off podcast. And we will catch you next week.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.